Hey guys, it's Frank. Welcome back to my channel. I know a lot of you guys who subscribe to my channel subscribe because you guys all want to move to Calgary. And, as a person that went to Calgary and kind of did you guys wrong in a way by moving back to Toronto and kind of eating my words, I think I owe it to you guys to do a reaction video of, my experience out in Calgary. So that way, if you're still watching me, you can make a decision whether or not you want to move to Calgary. And I stumbled on YouTube a rental video about Calgary, and it's titled, Renters Offer Higher Rent, Cash Incentives as Calgary's Rental Market Gets Hotter. I'm curious to see how the Calgary rental market has changed over the last year. So with that said, guys, before we dive into this video, give this video a good old smash, and now let's begin this video.
When I was looking for a place about a year ago, it was pretty calm. It was not what it is right now.
It's a landlord's market when it comes to finding a place to live in Calgary. With some applicants waging a bidding war, they're doing what they can to stand out from a sea of applicants, all looking for a place to call home. When
I moved to Calgary in October of 2021, I lost my job, so it was kind of difficult to find a rental property when it's kind of hard to go to someone and be like, hey, let me rent your unit when you don't have a job. But luckily enough, I had a good credit score, and I was willing to pay many months forward, should I need to. But good thing they didn't require me. But regardless, I would have to say that Calgary's rental market, at least when I went, it was hot in the sense of there was a lot of availabilities.
Some people say, well, what if I pay 6 months upfront or 1 year upfront?
That's exactly what I did. I didn't have a job at the time, so then I said, I told the person, I'm like, hey, I'm willing to pay 6 months up in advance.
So those we are definitely more attractive, right, to certain owners. Some owners, it doesn't matter, right, as long as they've got a solid working history.
Leo says renters with pets, families, or young children are having the most trouble finding a place. She says rentals in the inner city are always in high demand, but that demand is now spreading to suburban areas. She says potential renters should lower their expectations and up their budget as the rental market continues to grow.
Oh gosh, by the sounds of it, it sounds like there's not as many rental properties available. I don't know, when I went, there was so many rental units that you could totally rent out and there would be no issues. The world was your oyster. But it's now sounding out in Calgary that there's very minimal options out there.
People want to rent these days because they don't want to be tied down. They want flexibility.
And with so many applicants, landlords are picky about who they allow into their property, with some applicants upping the ante, offering anywhere from $50 to $150 more on their monthly rent, or throwing in a couple $100 up front as incentive.
Sad that Calgary at the time had so much options, and now it's going to this. So it's not sounding good for anywhere in Canada, because that was the go-to spot. I was running out of options in Toronto, so I was go to Calgary, and now it sounds like Calgary is getting a little bit beaten up as well.
References from previous landlords, or even that I paid my rent and everything on time, and sometimes it's just not enough. Somebody will step up and be like, oh, well, I'm going to pay a little bit more right now, and that's how I'm going to stand out. Not everybody has that $250, $500, or even just to casually up their rent monthly.
That is very fair. If God forbid anything happens to my my unit, but if my if something odd happened and my landlord, hopefully she's not watching, it's
hey, Frank, how $500 extra for your property?
I'd be I'm out. I'd probably try to find another location out in Toronto, but if not, then I don't know, maybe I'll room with someone, or I don't know. Calgary's not a bad option too, you know what I'm saying, guys? Based on my knowledge, I like to think that a lot of landlords just want a tenant that's a little bit more laid back than someone that will pay slightly more, but they might be debatable in terms of how they're gonna treat their unit. But I do understand what she's saying. If there's a like for like candidates, two candidates, they're exact same, and one of them is willing to pay an extra $100 or $200 more, than yeah, of course, they're going to pick that tenant that has that's going to be paying a little bit more. But I wouldn't say that's the end of it, because I also know landlords who are willing to justify taking a little bit less Like not all of them, but I know some that will, as long as they're a chill tenant. They don't do drugs, they don't mess up the place, they don't host parties, they're not too loud. Sometimes you might just prefer a tenant that's a little bit more chilled than someone that's willing to pay a few $100s more, but will likely cost you more in the long run.
McKinnon started looking for a rental mid-May and had to adjust her budget to find a place. She said the process was more grueling than anticipated.
Having the dog, I expected, but to have people turn me away because I have an 11-year-old son, which happened a couple times, them saying, we don't want to have a kid living in the suite.
Ah, that's sad and interesting. Like, I did not know there's any sort of laws restricting kids from living in your unit. I don't understand. I guess maybe if you're like trying to rent out directly from a landlord and maybe they're you're trying to rent out a house and they live upstairs or downstairs and they just prefer not to have like noise from your pet or your kid, but that's very odd. And I wonder if there has to be some sort of law that doesn't allow that. It's kind of odd. Fun fact about pets and stuff, but this is not really about Calgary, but I know in Vancouver, for a city that's very all for the outdoors and the mountain life and all that sort of stuff. And they're also big on pets and like a lot of dog owners out in Vancouver. But surprisingly, when you are looking to rent out in Vancouver, at least from what I've heard, there's not that many units or availability that is very pet friendly. Like that's very tough to find out in Vancouver from what I've heard. So something to keep in mind. But I know Calgary is a lot more lenient when it comes to pets. So it's kind of interesting how this lady's experience so far in the rental market in Calgary has shifted.
Replaced by applying in person, and says being personable in your application will help out, something Leo echoes.
It's always a bubble that won't last. The quality of tenant is way more important than selecting someone who's going to say, I'll pay more.
That's exactly what I said. I said, this is what I always thought. Like, if I was ever a landlord, I would be willing to just take the tenant that's just more chilled. I know they will never destroy my unit. They make the payments always on the first month, and as long as they're like covering my expenses and maybe I'm making a little bit more, I'm okay with that. Then like giving my taking a couple $100s more and I'm giving it to like some shady person that will like probably cost me thousands of dollars, like it'll damage my wall.
Than selecting someone who's going to say, I'll pay more.
In Calgary, Jillian Code, City News.
Before I give my 2 cents about this video, I just wanted to read some of the comment section just because some of these are funny. Like you have a good comment when they're at the top. Someone by Mike H. People want to rent because they don't want to be tied down, ? What percentage of people is she referring to here? I certainly don't want to rent. It's by far one of the biggest waste of money ever. I'd rather buy a house and pay a mortgage. Renting sucks. It always has and it always will. At least for myself, I'd rather own just because I always will have, the final say. Like when you're renting, you never know what exactly can go down. Like tomorrow, your landlord could just be like,
hey, I have my cousin or my brother-in-law that wants to move in, GTFO.
That could always happen. All in all, I just want to say this video was quite interesting to see how the rental market has changed out in Calgary, just being away from it over a year and seeing some of the challenges that some people are now facing out in that city. It's a little bit saddening, but Calgary overall, just remember, is a lot cheaper than rest of Canada, at least out in Vancouver and Toronto. I will guarantee that. So anyhow, with that said, guys, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching and following my good old millennial journey. I hope you guys liked when I react to videos. It's a little bit easier in making when I make videos like this, but I hope you guys enjoy it. Hit that subscribe button if you guys haven't already. Hit that like button, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.